try not to let thoughts like that enter my mind, but if they do, I really wouldn't know what to do with them because I don't know what that's like. Never lost a fight.
I've got to ask you, as a journalist.
Hypothetically speaking, if I lost, I don't know how to even respond to that because I've never lost.
At the World Vale Tudo 3 in São Paulo, Brazil, Mark Kerr enters with one goal: dominate and prove that freestyle wrestling is the supreme fighting style. He's 6 feet 1 inch, 260 pounds, stepping into the ring for his first professional fight as the commentator hypes him as the best he's ever seen. Then his opponent emerges. A towering 6 feet 8 inches, 330-pounder with 6 years of wrestling experience himself. The bell sounds, and Kerr detonates forward, ripping a double-leg takedown, smashing knees into his opponent's face, then unloading relentless blows until the referee dives in to stop it. Back in the corner, Kerr calmly asks if the other man is okay, and the referee assures him he's fine. When the opponent finally comes to, Kerr is declared the winner, and without hesitation, he moves on to the next fight. From the start of every fight, Kerr says he can tell when a man is scared. He sees it in their eyes, even smells it in their sweat. But the truth only comes when he puts his hands on them, when he asserts himself and feels whether or not they'll give in. Then it's simple. Will he hurt them or will they hurt him? If they hurt him, he'll hurt them twice as bad. A punch or kick isn't just answered. It's met with total physical domination. That's when opponents let go, withering in his arms. Early on, he says it was fun, pure animal instinct taking over. Now, the first hit feels magical, like flipping a switch in a dark room. It pushes him to the edge, to the moment where he asks himself whether to drive a finger into a cut and spread it wider, just to make his opponent feel pain. By the end of the tournament, Kerr stands alone. He wins, and later admits there's nothing like it. Victory feels divine, like being a god. As he steps out of the ring, fans erupt, and Kerr lifts the belt overhead, soaked in noise and joy. Sometime later in Alabama, Kerr prepares for his UFC debut, answering questions about tonight's fight against an opponent known only as the Hammer, by saying he feels strong. His cardio is dialed in, his power sharper than before. He explains it through focus, comparing the difference between a flashlight and a laser beam.
I have to make sure that I'm 100% concentrated on what I have to do. Because if not, then my emotions will be running around everywhere like a flashlight.
Yeah, that makes sense, actually.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. It applies to you and everybody else in this room.
Before the moment can linger, his friend Mark Coleman steps in and cuts it short, telling him it's time to head inside. The fight is about to start.
Kerr! Yeah, get him down early.
You got it. I'm gonna go warm up.
All right.
Later, Kerr sits in a hospital with a bruised face when an older woman asks what happened. He calmly explains what the UFC is, describing it as the first of its kind, a collision of martial arts that have existed for thousands of years, brought together to find out which one is the best.
That's the bloody thing they're trying to ban.
Yes, that's right. That's right. It is. But I got to tell you, the popularity of the sport comes from the stereotype that you're going to see the bloodiest and the goriest sport you've ever seen.
Yeah, I can't do that. It bothers me.
And it should bother a lot of people.
She asks if fighters hate each other afterward. He tells her no, then signs an autograph for her grandson before heading on. Inside, Kerr studies a spread of medications as his doctor arrives, who's surprised to learn the injuries came from the UFC, now in Japan. But Kerr explains it's a different league, Pride, likening it to the NBA versus the ABA. After the checkup, he decides to skip insurance altogether and pay for the medication himself. At home, his girlfriend, Dawn, makes him a smoothie, but one sip tells him something's off. The milk. She says she didn't know, and he reminds her he already explained it. Then takes over and points out his banana is also 1.5 now, not half. The moment makes it clear their relationship runs on small frictions. When he finishes, he notices the cat on the couch and reminds her it's expensive, that the cat tears it up. But Dawn insists the cat just wants a belly rub. Kerr puts it on the floor, only for her to pick it back up moments later. He's clearly annoyed, but he still thanks her for the smoothie, and they kiss. They head to the gym, where Dawn helps him stretch on the floor before they start making out. Then she watches as he pushes through brutal power lifts, grinding under the weight until they finally leave the gym. Back home, Kerr searches the house, the living room, the study, finding nothing until he opens the closet and locates the box he's been looking for. Inside, he takes out an opioid vial, walks into the bathroom, injects it directly into his bloodstream, and waits for it to take hold. Later, Kerr travels to Japan and sits down with executives from the Pride 7 Championship, counting the cash in front of him and realizing it has come up short. He points out the missing $3,300 from the previous contract, pressing through the language barrier that they need a clear understanding before his next fight. And the executive nods, assuring him he'll take it up with headquarters.
You're going to speak to your headquarters?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's okay.
I understand that, but before I fight again, we should clear this up. We should have an understanding. We should have an agreement, yes? Before I fight again.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay.
just wait.
It's fair.
It's okay.
Arigato.
Arigato.
Yes.
As Kerr heads down afterward, he passes Coleman coming up, the two sharing a brief, effortless greeting that says everything about their history. In a later interview, Coleman explains how far back it goes. They wrestled against each other in '88, competed together, and stayed close ever since. Coleman turned pro first a couple of years ahead, and when Kerr followed, Coleman became his first trainer and manager. Now they simply train together, and Coleman says he's proud of what Kerr has become. In town, Kerr keeps a low profile, buying an ornate glass bowl the shopkeeper praises him for choosing, then picking out a colorful scarf for his girlfriend. As his next fight approaches, Kerr is asked about Igor Vovchanchyn, a man infamous for his power, and he admits it will be his toughest challenge yet because of Igor's experience. However, he believes that if he keeps it clean and technical, he'll win. When the interviewer asks what happens if he loses, Kerr shuts the idea down completely, refusing to let it enter his mind, and when pressed hypothetically, he says he wouldn't even know what to do. He's never lost.
Hypothetically speaking, if I lost, I don't know how to even respond to that because I've never lost.
Yeah. Thank you.
I mean, I'm trying to intellectualize it with you, but I can't.
Soon after, Pride gathers the fighters to review newly illegal moves, running through biting, eye gouging, headbutting, and finally demonstrating that a knee to the face of a grounded opponent is forbidden. Meanwhile, Kerr's girlfriend Dawn arrives in Japan, walking through the streets of Tokyo and heading toward him. As Coleman helps Kerr stretch in the locker room, a knock hits the door and Dawn steps in, shifting the mood instantly as both men tense up. Coleman excuses himself, saying he'll be back in 5 minutes, and leaves them alone, while Kerr barely acknowledges her, distant and withdrawn. When Dawn asks why he's acting strange, he gives her nothing in return, not even when she kisses him. Coleman rides the elevator down, clearly frustrated. Back inside, Dawn finally snaps, reminding Kerr that he asked her to come, that she flew halfway across the world only to be treated like trash in front of his friend. Kerr tells her he's just trying to focus, that it has nothing to do with her, but Dawn pushes back, saying he could at least acknowledge her. The argument cuts off when they call for Kerr downstairs, and he leaves without resolving it. After putting on his gloves, Dawn tells him she'll find her seat, and Kerr heads toward the arena with Coleman in his corner. As Kerr enters, the commentators frame it as a collision. On paper, Kerr is the stronger fighter, a level of opponent Igor hasn't faced before, but they stress the danger on the other side. Kerr has never dealt with a striker this lethal. They call it monumental. In the ring, both men warm up, touch gloves, and when the bell rings, they probe cautiously, trading light punches behind tight guards before closing into the clinch. Igor suddenly pulls back and snaps a hard right into Kerr's face. Kerr shoots for a takedown, but Igor scrambles up and lands 2 clean shots, forcing Kerr to drag him down again and unload until Igor kicks free. Kerr shoots once more, but this time Igor reads it perfectly, pins him underneath, and begins punching and kneeing him, while Kerr remains on all fours. Coleman screams from the corner for him to move, but Kerr doesn't, while a shocked Dawn watches from her seat. That's when the referee steps in and stops the match as Igor erupts in celebration. Kerr jumps up immediately, protesting that the knee to the head was illegal, but the referee doesn't seem to understand. Kerr storms backstage, brushing past Dawn when she reaches for him, and finds a Pride executive to explain what went wrong, that Igor kneed his head repeatedly, and the referee never intervened, pleading with him to speak to the official. The executive promises he will. Alone in the locker room, Kerr collapses, the loss finally breaking through. Coleman soon arrives and grounds him, telling him it's nothing more than bumps and bruises, that he'll heal, that Igor was just that tough. Dawn brings him an ice pack, then steps outside with Coleman admitting she sensed something was wrong for weeks, that they'd been partying and drinking, and he didn't seem serious about the fight.
You never brought that up.
To you?
To me, yeah.
Why?
He doesn't need to be drinking 2 weeks before a fight.
I'm not his trainer. and I'm not a fighter, and he seemed fine about it.
Coleman tells her the only thing that matters now is being there for him, and she returns to the room, holding Kerr as he tries to pull himself back together. Later, the Pride executive returns with the decision. The fight will be ruled a no contest. Kerr doesn't like it, but accepts anyway. When Dawn asks if he's sad, he says he wanted the decision. He doesn't step into the ring for no contests. He explains that fighting gives him a high nothing else can touch, 40,000 people screaming your name, a feeling that can't be replaced.
You know.
It's 40,000 people,
Yeah.
and they're cheering you on. I mean, that's orgasmic.
Yeah, no.
Don, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm talking about the highest of highs, and two men out there competing against each other, and it's only us, and it's so raw.
Dawn tries to step in and explain what he's feeling, but Kerr cuts her off, saying he's trying to talk, lightly scolding her for interrupting. In the middle of it, Igor walks in. They exchange small talk, Igor mentioning the 4 stitches and his sore knee, and Kerr jokes that it's because it was on his head. They laugh, and when Igor apologizes, Kerr waves it off as instinct, understanding it was nothing personal. Kerr then suggests a photo together, hands the camera to Dawn, and as she takes it, her eyes quietly fill with tears. Afterward, Kerr presses the doctors for stronger pain medication, asking for narcotics or opioids, but the request is denied. They can only offer Advil. Kerr takes it anyway, joking that they hand it out like candy, and leaves with Dawn. That night, the couple quietly walk through the streets of Tokyo holding hands. Back in Phoenix, Kerr calls his doctor's office, asking for something stronger than his current prescription, explaining that pills upset his stomach and he needs injections instead. At home, he drifts in front of the television, distant and unfocused, as Dawn begs him to keep eating, to get better, pleading with him to stop using and telling him she doesn't recognize him anymore. Kerr says he just needs to get through this moment, that he needs her to be his girl. But Dawn suddenly brings his pain meds, saying he's not even hiding it now.
No, it's insane, and you need to get serious now,
I am
okay?
serious. What do you mean?
Because I don't even know who this person
I
is
am
right
serious.
now.
I'm going through this. What are you going through the house looking to find stuff just to get me in trouble?
Kerr snaps, telling her to stop treating him like a child, and she fires back that she wouldn't have to if he stopped acting like one, brushing off the loss as no big deal and telling him to just move on. Kerr rises slowly, rage spilling over as he rips the kitchen door apart and sweeps items off a desk. Afterward, Dawn brings ice for his bruised knuckles, but he pulls her close, telling her to treat him like a man as she holds him. Not long after, Coleman is at home with his kids when Dawn calls in tears, saying Kerr is on the ground and won't wake up, that she thinks he took too much and is unconscious but alive. Coleman promises he's on the first flight out. In the hospital, he hugs Dawn and enters Kerr's room, where he jokes that the hospital's soap is just like glue, making his hair fall off, and certainly not from the TRT he's been taking. He then spins a story about being sick and confused, so out of it he named Ronald Reagan as president. Coleman lets it go for a moment, then stops him, saying he knows why he's really there. Kerr suddenly breaks down, apologizing through sobs, but Coleman tells him there's nothing to apologize for. They're best friends, and he came because he loves him and wants him to get better. Coleman tells him to get better.
I don't want to die.
Hey, look at me. You're not gonna die, all right? Look at me.
I can't.
We're all in this together, all right? There's tons of people that love you, but it's gotta start with you, okay?
And Kerr promises he will as Dawn watches from outside. Back home, Kerr gathers his medications, throws them away, and checks himself into rehab. Coleman later travels to Tokyo for another fight. When asked about Kerr in an interview, he admits he's worried about him as a friend, but thinks that loss to Igor might be the best thing that ever happened to him, that Kerr will certainly come back better. During the fight, the commentators note Coleman is competing without Kerr by his side, who dropped out of his fight. After recent losses, they say Coleman's fighting an uphill battle against time. In the ring, he wastes no time, takes his opponent down, unloads, and forces the referee to call it, winning the Pride 8 championship. Back in America, Kerr is released from jail with Dawn waiting out front. After embracing each other, they drive off in a sleek Lamborghini. Later, they spend the day at a carnival. Dawn suggests they try the Gravitron, but Kerr declines, saying his stomach couldn't handle it, and he'd probably get sick everywhere. Dawn explains that from the inside, it feels like standing still, but Kerr isn't convinced. He asks the ride attendant if there's a center spot he could stand in, only to be told that if he can't handle the ride, he shouldn't get on. As the men argue, Dawn hands Kerr her drink and goes in without him. Inside, she laughs and enjoys herself while Kerr stands outside alone, awkward and lost in thought. Later, Kerr rides the carousel while Dawn watches, assuring him he looks cool. They move on to a monster truck show where Dawn cheers loudly and stays fully engaged, while Kerr stares ahead, unfocused and unable to enjoy any of it. Back home, Kerr lightly scolds Dawn for not pruning the bottom of the cactus in the yard. He wanted it shaped like the Roadrunner cartoon. Dawn brushes it off, telling him to just cut it. But Kerr explains that it doesn't work that way, that the lower growth steals water and weakens the larger arms. As he trims the cactus, Dawn says he'd be a great father. Kerr says it's nice to hear, but he's not ready, and he doesn't understand why she keeps pushing it.
I mean, I don't know what you want me to do. I look around. I'm already doing everything already.
That's not true, Mom.
It is true. I'm already doing everything around here. I understand. I just don't have the mental space to have a kid, and I'm sorry. I don't like telling you no.
I was just trying to be nice,
I know.
okay?
I know, and it's very nice, and I appreciate it. It's just not the right time.
Okay.
He then glances at the pool and points out the leaves are still there. Dawn snaps that they're from this morning, but Kerr just says he'll handle it, while Dawn lies down in frustration. Later, as she heads out with a friend, Dawn admits that since Kerr got sober, he's colder, less affectionate, and constantly picking at her. Then she confesses something harder to say. She misses taking care of him when he was using. Back home, Dawn wakes up hungover and reaches for pills to dull the headache, and when Mark asks about it, she snaps at him. He reminds her he just got out of rehab, that she could be a little nicer, but Dawn fires back that he hasn't exactly been kind either, that he's constantly judging her, acting superior just because he's had his act together for 3 weeks. Mark starts to walk away, and she softens for a moment, apologizing, then immediately undercuts it, saying that just because he has a problem doesn't mean everyone else in the world shares it. Mark then calls his sponsor, Jeff, and Dawn mocks him for it, asking if he's tattling on her now.
You're no fun anymore, and you're just a fucking tattletale bitch. Are you telling on me?
I'm not telling on you.
What
This is
are
the
you
most
doing?
difficult time of my life, Dawn. Please, I need you to understand.
I do understand.
Please,
No, I do. I understand. But then you go and call Jeff, and then you just shut me out, and it really hurts my feelings. And I'm here to talk to you, okay? But you just gotta let me in. You don't need Jeff. Hey, hang on, come here. Hang on.
This is what I'm talking about. I mean, this up and down. I don't know who I'm talking to.
How the fuck can you?
Your behavior is just so unhealthy for me right now. Please, Dawn.
That's when Dawn explodes, yelling that he's jealous she can still go out, still drink with her friends, and still live her life while he can't. She storms off, packs a bag, and smashes the ornate glass bowl he brought back from Japan, then walks out of the house. Not long after, Pride assembles its top fighters for a press conference, announcing a Grand Prix tournament spread across 2 events that will end with a championship fight to crown the best fighter in the world. Both Kerr and Coleman are in. Kerr takes the mic and thanks the organization for standing by him through his personal struggles, then turns to the Japanese fans and apologizes for not being the fighter they believed in, promising that this tournament will be how he makes it right. In 2000, Kerr heads to Hollywood to train with Bas Rutten, the actual fighter in real life, a fighting legend who once conquered Japan MMA. They greet each other, and Kerr hands him the tournament rulebook. Bas immediately points out that all his weapons are now illegal moves. The promoters don't want grappling anymore. They want knockouts. Bas warns him that Enson Inoue will be hunting exactly that, but tells Kerr to stay patient, step back, wait for the opening, then take him down.
So no striking?
No striking. Well, you need to know striking in order to get him tired and take him to the ground, but come on, man, you know his game plan, right? 5 wins by knockout, 5 wins by submission, and then last year, on my freaking birthday, who won the Abu Dhabi Combat Club World Championship? You did.
He reminds him that no one is taking Kerr down, especially after watching him handle elite grapplers. Following this, they get to work, drilling, striking, pushing through long sessions until Kerr collapses flat on the floor, drained. Bas moves on to ground and pound instruction, but midway through the drill, his tendon snaps, dropping him to the mat. It has happened before, and he knows the excruciating pain will linger for about 90 minutes. Kerr quickly rummages through his bag and pulls out an opioid vial. He calmly prepares an injection, promising Bas he's not using, it's just an old one, then injects it into his arm. Moments later, Bas says he feels like a plant, his body burning, suddenly understanding why Kerr sweats so much. Under Bas's guidance, Kerr reaches peak physical shape heading into the tournament. On fight night, Bas is asked about Kerr versus Enson, and he calls it electric, saying Kerr is in the best condition he's ever seen. He emphasizes that endurance decides fights, and he believes Kerr can go the distance. When asked about the possibility of Kerr facing Coleman, who are not only American but also best friends, Bas admits he hasn't discussed it with either, but believes it's already sitting in their minds. In the locker room, Kerr and Coleman flip through a magazine, joking about their photos, then step outside together, greeted by waves of fans as they sign autographs and soak in the energy. Not long after, the opening round begins with Coleman, who wastes no time taking his opponent down and locking him a submission, gracefully securing his spot in the Grand Prix finals. Next comes Mr. Ice Cold Igor Vovchanchyn, who storms through his opponent, battering him until the referee intervenes, also earning his own spot in the finals. Then it's Kerr versus Enson Inoue, and the commentator openly wonders if Kerr still has it after everything he's been through. The answer comes fast. The bell rings. Kerr shoots and takes Enson down. He scrambles free but stays grounded, irritating Kerr enough that he starts kicking at his legs until the referee threatens disqualification. Enson stands and Kerr immediately takes him down again, unleashing blows and knees until the referee calls it. Coleman rushes to the ring and the three men embrace as the crowd roars. Kerr turns to his fans while the commentator says it out loud, that Mark Kerr could win this tournament. When the first round winners gather in the ring, Kerr jokes with Coleman that it's going to be the two of them in the final.
We always said we couldn't turn it down.
For 200 grand, I'm gonna whoop your ass.
Man, I don't want to have to mess you up.
Bring it. I'm ready.
Afterwards, they hug, shoulder to shoulder, and walk out. Sometime later, while Kerr is training, Dawn shows up with a gift, the same ornate bowl she shattered before, now glued back together. She explains it through kintsugi, the Japanese art of repairing something broken, so its history gives it meaning. As they talk, Bas watches from the back, visibly irritated by her presence, and quickly calls Kerr over for another round. With the finals approaching, Kerr still plans to drive back to Phoenix with Dawn. Bas presses him, questioning whether it's a good idea, and Kerr snaps back. He knows exactly what he's doing. Soon after, Kerr drives off with Dawn, leaving his trainer just standing there. Back in Phoenix, Kerr shaves his head completely, and the two laugh together as Dawn reacts to the new look, while elsewhere, Coleman continues training, locked in on the final round. Later, Dawn confronts Kerr about Bas and Coleman calling earlier. Kerr shrugs it off, saying they're probably just checking in because of the upcoming fight, but Dawn doesn't believe him. She asks if they were calling to make sure he didn't cave and bring her to Japan.
You listen to my answer
Yeah,
machine?
I did, because I'm not hearing shit from you, so do you agree with them?
What are you talking about,
Say it,
Dawn?
that you don't want me to go with you to Japan.
I'm not going to say that,
Why?
Dawn.
Just say it.
I just need like a couple of days. That's it. I just need 2 days. That's it.
When she asks if he even wants her there, Kerr admits he just needs 2 days alone to focus, away from all distractions. Dawn explodes, saying she does everything for him, cooking, cleaning, and now he's calling her a distraction. She says she feels shut out, that she wants to know about his fighting and how he's feeling, but he never lets her in. That's when Kerr snaps and punches the cabinet, accusing her of pretending to care when all she's ever cared about is herself. He tells her he's grinding to make life-changing money, fresh out of rehab, while she's out drinking until 4 in the morning, popping Advil in front of him, completely ignoring what that does to him.
I don't know what to do. I'm working my ass off to make a life-changing amount of money. And what are you doing? I just get out of rehab and you're out till 4 o'clock in the morning with your friends. You're drinking. You're eating Advil at 2:30 in the afternoon. You think that's nice to me? You think that's encouraging? No, it's rude and it's selfish and it's fucked up. And that's why you're not going to Japan.
I knew it was you. I knew it was your idea.
You knew it. Yeah, of course you did. Of course, because it's all about you.
Dawn fires back that he doesn't care about her, only his friends, and calls his fighting stupid. Kerr counters that his fighting paid for the house, the car, everything she's wearing. When she keeps pushing, saying he doesn't know anything about her, he calmly tells her to leave. When she hesitates, he orders her to pack her bag and go. Instead, she grabs a gun and tries to self-delete, but Kerr reacts instantly, rushing her and ripping it away. She then locks herself in the bathroom, frantically searching for pills, but Kerr breaks the door down and restrains her until the police arrive. They tell him it's not an arrest. They're taking her to the hospital for a doctor to assess her, and that he'll be able to see her later. They drive off as Kerr stands there watching. By the time the finals arrive, Kerr is posing for photos while Coleman gives interviews. When asked who he'd rather face next, Fujita or Kerr, Coleman refuses to answer, saying only that whoever it is, both men will give everything they have. Coleman's fight starts first. He's been sharpening his boxing, and it shows as the bout turns into a sustained brawl, Coleman trading freely, mixing strikes with his wrestling. On the ground and back to their feet, he keeps landing, digging shots into the liver until the fight goes to a unanimous decision. Coleman advances to the final, now waiting on the winner between Kerr and Kazuyuki Fujita. As Fujita enters, the commentators frame him as one of the division's most dangerous heavyweights, the kind of man who takes a wrecking ball to stop. Kerr follows, riding momentum from his win over Enson Inoue. The bell rings, and Kerr shoots immediately, slamming Fujita down and unloading, looking dominant, until Fujita snags a leg and reverses him. Kerr drops to all fours, head down, just like his previous fight with Igor, while Fujita pounds him relentlessly. Bas screams from the corner for him to adjust his position, but Kerr freezes, memories of Coleman and Dawn flooding in, and his body refusing to respond. The referee soon steps in and calls it. Mark Kerr has lost. Bas cools him down with water and kisses his bald head as they walk him out. Backstage, Kerr gets stitched up and thanks Bas for everything, who has to head back out to the commentary table. Not long after, Coleman arrives and consoles him, saying it's just one night and that they've all been there. Kerr notes how Fujita withdrew from the final, citing a knee injury during their fight. Now, the championship is all Coleman's for the taking if he wins his next brawl against Igor Vovchanchyn. After wishing him good luck, Coleman heads out. The final, Coleman versus Igor, is the first Pride fight broadcast in North America. While Kerr is still getting stitched, Coleman dominates, taking Igor down and battering him on the ground until he taps.
How you can tap? Go sleep. Go sleep.
Coleman explodes in celebration, sprinting to the crowd and hugging fans. He has claimed both the tournament and the $200,000 cash prize. Coleman and Igor lift their trophies in the ring as Kerr's stitches are finished. Later, Coleman walks into the locker room with the belt strapped around his waist, while Kerr heads to the shower, turns the water on, and starts laughing. In 2025, Mark Kerr now lives in Scottsdale, Arizona. After the Grand Prix loss, he reunited with Dawn, married her in Las Vegas 10 days later, stayed together for 6 years, and had a son. Kerr retired from fighting in 2009. Alongside Coleman, he helped pioneer the sport in its earliest days. Today, fighters earn millions, and their names are known everywhere. His name is Mark Kerr, and he was the Smashing Machine. This film captures a version of MMA that no longer exists, an era before million-dollar purses, before strict medical oversight, when fighters competed multiple times in a single night and relied on painkillers just to keep going. Mark Kerr's story comes from that world. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the film and which fight story I should cover next. Thanks for watching.
Dawn, would you like
No.
some? They're handing them out like candy.
Thank you.